Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the HOS F1 podcast. I am your host, Adrian Hove, joined as always by my co-host, RJ McCullough. RJ, what's going on, man?
Hello, my friend. I would like to say to everyone, make sure you stay right to the end because Adrian has a special surprise this week. He's performing a very extra special rendition of I'm a Little Teapot, thanks to Max Verstappen winning his 5th race in a row. But
Yes.
On that note of Max winning his 5th race in a row, usually I come to this podcast wearing either a Mercedes hat or a Lewis Hamilton hat. I'm going full just pander. I'm wearing just an F1 Formula 1 hat with a FIA on the side. So I'm just pandering to the FIA in hopes if there's racing gods out there, just please let us have someone other than a Red Bull winning, because I don't want Perez winning either. Just Silverstone one time, please. That's all. What's up with you?
Well, I was going to say if someone besides Max or Checo win this weekend, then you are no longer allowed to wear Lewis merch on the show because that's clearly a sign.
Yeah, I mean, the Lewis stuff hasn't been working, so gotta mix it up.
Yes. Hopefully Mercedes can have a little bit of a bounce back from Austria because they had a little bit of a rough weekend. But we're going to sort of get into that. We're going to go over sort of the highlights and some of the big talking points from Austria and, of course, talk about Silverstone, which is this weekend. And as RJ mentioned, we do a Formula One league, so anytime one of the drivers on his teams gets a win, I have to do a punishment. He has Max Verstappen, so I've been doing punishments left and right, and I've got to do I'm a Little Teapot at the end, so stick around. Besides that, yeah, let's jump first into what you sent me today, and that's the updated Formula One 2024 calendar, which is I thought was quite interesting.
Yeah, a couple of interesting things right off the top. I mean, the two that stood out to me, first, that Vegas's run is the penultimate race lasting all of one season because they put Qatar, and they said they want to make the schedule more so the races are closer together, so not bouncing back and forth around the calendar, but there's several instances where they do exactly that, so I don't know, I'm not really buying that excuse. The other thing that stood out is that they're starting the race. Obviously, Vegas is a night race, but now they're having a Saturday night race. Vegas is that. They're starting the season with 2 Saturday night races next year as well. So, Bahrain and Saudi Arabia, so Jeddah, will be Saturday night races. So they'll be moving the schedule one day back those weeks. So that's all right. I mean, we'll be desperate for anything on track at that point in the season, or getting into the season. So, kind of excited about that. Otherwise, yeah, not too much. I mean, it's 24 races. What stood out to you?
Like you said, they sort of vamped it as being more like regionally focused. I don't know if that was the exact verbiage that they said, but yeah, I mean, I can see like some instances where, I mean, it's definitely an improvement on our current season, but yeah, we've got the Middle East and then Australia up to Japan, China, then we're crossing. I mean, I'm trying to just see like some of the biggest like journeys, like Monaco to Canada.
Well, they go Miami to Italy to Monaco to Canada. They could have just gone Miami to Canada. You know what I'm saying?
Miami, Canada, Monaco, Monza,
yeah. or Italy,
Imola,
yeah, and then Spain. So sort of that's one that definitely stands out.
Interesting.
UK, I don't know how far Austria is from the UK, but they go Austria, Silverstone, Hungary. I would imagine, but I don't know enough to say if that's far apart, but I would imagine it is. And then, yeah, I guess Brazil, Las Vegas, Qatar, Abu Dhabi isn't great, but they kind of have to get those at the end of the year. So I don't know.
Sure.
I just don't like that they're trying to make it seem like they're making the calendar all like we're going from this continent to this continent. Like if they wanted to do that, they could do that throughout the whole season. I mean, they start and end the season in the Middle East.
So. I'm sure that they've paid a pretty penny to have that happen. So
yeah.
that's kind of what I just chalk it up to. Is I'm sure like some of these Middle Eastern tracks or Brazil, Vegas, you know, they've probably paid a lot of money to have that specific slot. Although, you know, I wonder if not showrunners, but sort of the people behind the Las Vegas GP are a little miffed about that, or maybe they were in support of it. I'm not sure, but As the Saturday night races, yeah, that's okay to me. I know it's for Ramadan. That's totally understandable. The only negative is just that I like watching the races on Sunday morning, so that's just me being selfish. But yeah, it's fascinating. I mean, will the Chinese GP even happen? Will it get canceled again? That's what I'm really thinking. Like, which of these races won't happen? Because we've already had 2 canceled GPs this season, so
yeah,
I'm not sure.
That's the thing. They can never seem to get a full. It's like the only sport that doesn't actually play all their games.
Yeah.
It's different.
Right.
I guess the only thing I can think of with Vegas is that they want to do on American Thanksgiving. Like, is American Thanksgiving November 21st to 23rd? Is it around there?
I believe so, yeah.
So maybe that's the impetus behind it, I guess.
That makes sense.
And then the
big
breaks,
travel.
they have the traditional 3-week summer break in August, an additional 3-week pause between Singapore and Austin, and then 2 weeks between Brazil and Vegas, which 2 weeks is nothing. Yeah, nothing too out of the ordinary for that. Yeah, I don't know. I guess that's it for the 2024 calendar. We'll kind of update it as things go. I mean, I'm already looking into hotels for Montreal and Miami because you got to get them. You got to get on them quick. So
yes, that you do.
Yeah, you meant. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I don't. I could have put this as sort of a short talking point, but I saw a very interesting video yesterday. It sort of went through and from cheapest to most expensive logged all of the GPs and like what's the cheapest Grand Prix to get tickets for and what's the most expensive. And I want to just guess at what you think the cheapest ticket is. Which track? It's kind of a low. It's kind of a low key.
I mean, my guess would be Bahrain, but that could be way off.
It's not Middle East.
Maybe
I'll
Coda.
Nope, not. It's actually Hungary, if you can believe that. Apparently, that's the cheapest tickets that you can get. I don't know if it's the lowest demand or if if they're just
That's what I thought Bahrain was like.
Priced.
There's no one out there. But okay, and what's the most expensive? I mean, Vegas, Monaco.
Yep, Monaco, Miami, Vegas. I actually don't remember if Vegas was on there. Oh wait, no, it definitely was because I think Vegas was like the most expensive at the end. But yeah, all the Americans. Well, Coda wasn't. Coda was sort of in the middle, but yeah, Monaco, Miami. But yeah, that was just interesting. I was like, damn, if you were on a budget, go to the Hungary GP.
Yeah,
which will be next after Silverstone. So we have that to look forward to.
It'd be cheaper to probably buy a flight to Hungary and stay there for a week and go to every single session than just to go to like one session at Vegas.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous.
But I guess that's their thing. We were talking over the week. You said you wanted to just say something about Mr. Hulkenberg. Do you remember what that was?
Yes. So he, obviously he had a little bit of bad luck in the actual Grand Prix, having to retire, but I feel like he had a really great weekend. That Haas just tears through its tires, has no race pace, but I mean, he was on it in quali. I mean, he always is, but I actually did not know this, but there's been 2 times in the past where Nico was sort of in line to take a pretty major seat, but then it just sort of got taken last second. I'll save the earliest one for last, but he was originally in talks to replace Albon at Red Bull. Wow. But of course then Checo gave that amazing performance in Abu Dhabi and they sort of just pulled the trigger on him. Besides that, actually I think I'm missing one. But no, the one that stood out to me the most that I thought you would find very fascinating is when they were originally looking to sign a driver for Mercedes. It was almost Nico Hulkenberg, but Niki Lauda convinced Lewis Hamilton to sign to the seat at the last second. So could have been Nico and Nico.
Wait, yeah. Yeah. That would have been, say, 2 Nicos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
and
I feel like
sliding
Nico,
doors moment because maybe Nico Rosberg probably would have, like, maybe he would still be racing. Like, he would have won multiple championships, right? Or Hulk might have won one. I don't know. It would change everything, right?
Oh, it would have definitely changed everything for Hulk. So I do feel like he gets a little underappreciated, but he's got a really good racecraft. So I do enjoy watching him race. I hope he doesn't kind of do what all the Haas drivers do, and they have a great first return back, and then the next year they suck. So we'll see. But yeah, I just wanted to quickly shout out Hulk. Oh, dude, he's a monster. But if only that car just could make it to the end without fucking degrading.
That'd be nice. That would be nice. But yeah, he didn't even make it through the race, unfortunately.
Nope.
But I guess we can talk Austrian GP, because that sprint race, usually we probably wouldn't even talk about a sprint race, but that was, I feel like we've said this a few times this year, but that was the most entertaining thing I've seen in a long time. That was just great. Like, action everywhere from the beginning with the Red Bulls kind of fighting a little bit to the end. I mean, it was very interesting. We didn't necessarily have a battle at the front. We never do. Max beat his teammate even by 20 seconds, but
yeah.
Yeah, just a really, really good sprint. I have printed out some sheets here, so I don't have to be switching. Okay, here we go. So yeah, Hulkenberg finished 6th, which all in all it was pretty good considering he started, what, 3rd?
Yep.
And then George Russell, obviously, it was so cool was that the rain came at like the perfect time. Maybe it would have come like a few minutes earlier, but George Russell is notorious for kind of, maybe not notorious, but we've seen him multiple times him do kind of a risky moves, and this time it paid off. Like, he cut right through the field, finished 8th, and I think he was like 0.009 off of Ocon for yeah, it was plus 36.602 to plus 36.611. So yeah, 0.09009. That's crazy. Lance Stroll at 4th place. That was pretty good.
Yeah, I feel like he had one of his better weekends that he's had. Well, I could say his whole career, but definitely this season, which was nice to see. I'm not used to. I mean, I did kind of feel like Fernando sort of had no pace this weekend, like at all.
Mm-hmm.
The Aston just didn't look great. Lance looked pretty good, but I mean, Fernando Alonso's always struggled at that track. He's never really had an amazing result there, or at least he hasn't in almost a decade. But yeah, that was a little bit surprising to see Fernando not be fighting for a podium like we've seen him so far this season.
Yeah, I think we're kind of seeing teams that are bringing multiple upgrades now that are trying to catch up. So especially we saw it last week with Aston Martin and Mercedes. Those sprint race weeks, they only have one session, so they can't really get everything like fine-tuned to the new specs of the car the way they want it. So I think, I mean, I could be wrong, obviously. Maybe Ferrari had a good week, but from Canada to Austria, there was a significant drop-off for Mercedes and Aston Martin. Yeah, like you said, Alonso was never really a threat. So hopefully Silverstone, a normal week. I forgot to put it on the note sheet, but I just remember they're filming for that movie Apex.
Oh yes.
And then they have a paddock or whatever. Yeah, like Brad Pitt and the other guy have their own paddock. So that's going to be interesting, and lots of weird one-liners from the announcers and I don't know what. It's going to add a little extra to it, but yeah, I'm hoping that's why. To get back to my original point, I'm hoping that's why the Mercedes and Aston Martin were a little further off, because it was only one practice session instead of 3.
Yeah. That's I didn't even think about that actually, but yeah, that definitely could have been the case. I do wish I know they set it to a particular length for a reason, but I wish the sprint had just been like 5 more laps, because we would have it would have been like, it just felt like we were like about to see like some race defining action, potentially catching Max and who knows what. But yeah, unfortunately it wasn't a regular length race, so that didn't end up happening. But the race itself ended up being fairly interesting. I mean, I feel like it could have been a little bit more exciting maybe, but it still satisfied the F1 fan or F1 fan in me. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it had its moments. Definitely had its moments. The Ferraris showed some, like, obviously they couldn't keep up, especially with Max. And Perez did kind of cut through the field. But it was nice to see the Ferraris. And yeah, the race had its moments. We'll get into the talking points. I guess off the start, I'll ask you as a Red Bull fan. Sorry, I cleared my throat as if I was going to make a joke there, but no, just clear my throat. So Checo, I don't even remember what place he started in, but he finished what, 2nd or 3rd?
15th, something like that.
He finished 3rd. Yeah. So, like, do you think obviously going into it, and with him not making it into Q3 yet again, it was kind of wow, this guy's about to lose his job. Obviously not right away, but we were pretty down on Checo. Does that third place finish from 15th, does that restore any faith, or where do you stand on that?
I mean, to me, we'll have to. I'll see if my opinion changes on this throughout the season, but it just kind of feels like Sergio's last year. This is his third year with Red Bull. I mean, that in and of itself is an achievement to be Max's teammate for that long. But I don't know. I think him getting the third place might have, eased that tension a little bit. Because I mean, if you watch that interview that Christian Horner gave, he was pissed. He can hold it in a little bit, but he was like, "What are you doing? Keep it in the white lines." And I also don't like blaming Albon from Checo, saying that he was responsible. I mean, he didn't ruin all 3 of your laps, So to me, it just like I said, I just don't know if I see him with Red Bull next season. I think he's more likely to stay than Nick DeVries, but. Gosh, but I don't even. I mean, it's so risky to leave or to remove Checo, because I don't see Daniel Ricciardo ever getting back in the actual Red Bull. As sad as that makes me, I'm not gonna say it's never gonna happen, but I just think it's extremely unlikely. I think we're more likely to see maybe a Red Bull poach another driver potentially. I think that's if they're definitely considering getting rid of Checo. And behind the scenes, then I imagine they're reaching out to Leclerc, Sainz, Lando. I'm trying to think of who else they might want to reach out to. I mean, they probably reach out to multiple drivers, because Liam Lawson needs to be put in the AlphaTauri so he can start getting experience to eventually get in the Red Bull.
Piastri would be a good one to reach out to.
But he just signed that long contract with McLaren, though.
But he's not he knows he's shown that he can get out of contracts.
Dude, if he fucking pulled that shit on McLaren and went to Red Bull.
I was imagining, if contracts weren't an issue, you're either going to go with you don't want someone that's immediately going to threaten Verstappen, but you want someone that's going to, once the other teams get closer, is going to help you win the constructors, right? So I think Piastri is maybe the next up and coming guy, and I've been pretty impressed by him with McLaren. Either that, or you'd get Perez is kind of what they want, right? I don't know. It's hard to imagine who they would get, because I can't see Lando, because that would be too competitive with Max. I don't know. It would be very very interesting.
You're exactly right. I mean, those are big names. Do they want someone who's going to potentially challenge Max? I'm not sure. I mean, it doesn't seem like they want Checo to at all. But also, we talked at the big, when Checo was getting some wins and, within 30 points of Max, it was hey, you never know. But now we know, and it's not going to happen. So I'm not sure. I think if I was Sergio Perez, I would be a little on edge about my future.
Yeah, me too. I did see one thing, speaking of Danny Rick, on Twitter. It was an article. I forget if the quote came from Horner or Marco, but one of those Red Bull guys that I dislike.
Those lovely men.
Saying that Ricciardo has been just tearing it up in the simulator. He's back to his old self. He's putting in great times now. That's on a simulator, but their simulators are basically they're as close as you can possibly get. They literally move around. It's crazy when you see the videos of them. I guess that's enough on Checo for now.
Yeah, I agree. I was going to say, that's actually a really good point. Daniel Ricciardo easily could be eventually put back in that seat. I worry if they try to go put him in the AlphaTauri, and then they're if he does good, maybe we'll see about bringing him back. But since the AlphaTauri is so much different than the Red Bull, I just feel like that sim time would not maybe lend itself to that car. Yeah. So, if he's just absolutely blowing it away, it's possible. What I feel like everybody is reminded of when you look back on his days with McLaren, specifically because he just struggled so much, is that he grew up and trained in F1 in a Red Bull car in Adrian Newey. So he's used to the aerodynamics. He's used to the power. He's just used to that car. So it's not surprising to me that he is back to his old self. I mean, that's what I want to see. I just don't know if Christian Horner or Helmut would even consider that or have the faith to bring him back just with all the backstory and all that stuff.
I don't really see it either. But, I mean, it's a nice thought.
Although
they did, on the AlphaTauri thing, they did say, like, in their rebrand that they are just going to go back to basically being a Red Bull junior team and then using the same car, essentially, which I don't blame them for, considering how far Red Bull is ahead. So maybe they start the season with someone, maybe even Perez beside Max, and then they have, like, a little competition in the AlphaTauri between Tsunoda and Ricardo or something. Excuse me. I don't know, but it'll be interesting to watch. Kind of just want something different with Red Bull at this point, but we'll see.
For sure.
On to my boys. There was definitely the hardest week to watch as a Lewis fan. Just never really on it. I mean, did okay in the sprint, but out in Q1, the one qualified okay in the actual race qualifying, but just not a very good weekend overall. And I mean, I'll admit it. Lewis was pretty whiny on the radio, even to the point where obviously Toto had to come on and be like, "Yeah, we know the car; it's bad. Like, please just drive it." And he was going off a lot. I mean, I saw a video of Lando Norris saying like he was behind Lewis, and Lewis was just going off like every single corner, which they all seem to be. But yeah, it was an uncharacteristically bad weekend for Lewis, and there's been a lot of. Seems always whenever anything happens with Lewis or Max, there's obviously. It creates more talk, so there was a lot of talk about whether Lewis and Toto are going to have an issue going to Silverstone or whatever, and I think obviously that's ridiculous. They're like, it's just everyone gets upset on their radio. All the team reps get upset with their guys. Like it happens. It's professional sports. Like I don't think it's going to be an ongoing issue whatsoever. He still doesn't sign his contract, but I don't think that's. I mean, I'm not worried about that.
Yeah.
Do you think I should be?
I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not super knowledgeable when it comes to like when they announce. I do remember when George was rumored and all those talks were happening. They didn't announce at Silverstone, but then we found out that it was confirmed at Silverstone. So I think the summer break is probably when we would hear something like that. But I don't see Lewis potentially leaving. I think he knows he's got to stick it out. Mercedes is eventually going to get it right because take a lesson from Daniel. But he didn't even leave when things were bad. He just left when things were good. So I think Lewis is like, he's very patient. He's virtuous. He can sometimes get a little pissed off during the race, understandably, but I think he knows that if he was to leave, there's a strong chance Mercedes just gets it, and then all of a sudden they're back in the front, and he's with Ferrari, and he's like, fuck, why'd I do this? So, no, I wouldn't say you should be worried. Not at all.
Yeah, at least not yet.
No, not yet. Yeah, we'll see maybe a month or two from now.
Yeah, we'll see how Silverstone goes, and we'll see leading into summer break. A couple other moments. There was Sergio, so Checo versus Sainz. They had a pretty good battles, back and forth. It actually made Verstappen more impressive because when him and Charles were battling, he like purposely kind of slowed down to let Charles go ahead for a split second so he could get DRS. Mm-hmm. Whereas Checo just passed Sainz and didn't even consider that. So then Sainz was able to pass him back right away. So kind of just once again the many differences between Checo and Max.
Yeah.
And then there was obviously the fastest lap. The balls that Max showed.
Dude.
What did you think of that? Obviously, he's your boy.
Dude. Yeah, I that was like, I love that shit. That is, what really sold it for me was going back and then listening to his team radio. His engineer is like, we're 23 seconds ahead. And then he's like, who has fastest lap? And they're like, that's Checo. And then he's like, okay, should we pit for the softs to get fastest lap? And they're like, we don't think it's worth the risk. And then like 10 seconds goes by, and then you just hear box. He's just, oh my God. And then he just the Mad Lad just absolutely did it, and then he set I don't think he set a lap record, but I mean he set the fastest lap on the final lap of the race. I mean, I don't know if any other driver could have done that. I mean, he is in the Red Bull, but
would have even tried it.
But he is in if he had somehow lost that position to Leclerc, I think he would have he would have blamed the team. First of all, he would have been like, that wasn't my fault. I'm not going to lie though. I do think it was probably the most badass move from the whole weekend, but I was praying for a slow stop. I was like, let's let Leclerc get right in front of him, and then we're going to have the best final 2 laps ever. But nah, he gained 6 seconds in the last lap. I mean, it's just, he is untouchable. As you know, he's not on my fantasy team, so it hurts. But you know, I do enjoy seeing that sort of just confidence. It was because you just don't see that shit. I mean, it was just crazy.
No, it was very exciting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it gave us a little bit of something to watch at the end there.
It did.
And then there's no way he did this on purpose, but he even got above the 5 second. I think he ended up winning by 5.05 seconds. So even if he did get a 5-second penalty, he still would have won. Although every other team, it seems like, got a penalty except for Red Bull, but we won't go into that. Or we will go into that, actually. We'll go into that right now, because I printed it out. 12 penalties given out after the race.
And half of them were for Ocon.
4 of them. 4 of them were for Ocon.
5,
10, 15, 20, 30 seconds added to his time after the race. That's unbelievable. 30 seconds added, yeah. We got Sainz 10, Lewis 10, Gasly 10, Albon 10, Ocon 5, 10, 5, 10, Sargent 10, De Vries 10 plus 5, and then Yuki 5. Crazy. So that ended the race. Obviously Max winning and fastest lap. So I think Max did beyond the Grand Slam this week because the sprint race too. You got double pole, double win, double fastest lap. They don't have fastest lap in sprint race, but still. Yeah, so we had Verstappen, Leclerc, Perez, Norris, Alonso, Sainz, Russell, Hamilton, Stroll, Gasly, Albon just outside the points, and then Hulkenberg, the only one that didn't finish. Yuki was the last place of the finishers. Yeah, all in all, I mean, won't go down as the best race weekend, but that sprint races so far have been pretty good. We've been, maybe they've made it a little better with the tracks that they've chosen. Still got to figure out the points because it is sort of pointless, especially this year.
Yeah.
I mean, at the bottom, maybe the guys like Hulkenberg, that helps with getting a few points, but not at the top. It was certainly if it was another 2021, it'd be when every point matters. Then yeah, it would be more exciting. But it's just sort of, at least it was fun to watch. It was exciting.
It was very exciting. Here's my pitch for how we make the sprints perfect and more interesting. We take a page, I don't know if it was F3 or F2 or we talked about this before, but so sprint weekend, you got Friday qualifying, that sets the grid for Sunday's race. Saturday, no sprint shootout. Fuck that, it's pointless. Let them have another practice session. Then for the sprint, you do a reverse grid. And then but we keep the points the same. You still get the 8 and the 7. If they did that simple change, it would be the greatest decision of all time. Is it fair? Not really. But, I mean, who cares? It's 8 points. Yeah. I mean, if we had Nick, just imagine the chaos. You've got Leclerc and Max in the back. Or, you have instances where you got Checo. He'd be up in 5th. He'd go he'd dominate the sprint, He'd
be the sprint king.
Dude, he would be.
Turn 1 would be an absolute gong show. Max coming from the back into Lewis and Alonso and Charles. Oh, that would be great. And they should just try. Sometimes they try things for one race just to test it out. This week they're doing something with wet tires or something.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. Oh,
it's a pipe dream.
Would it be would it be fair? Not really, but they would still. No one would. It's not worth throwing qualifying to get a good sprint grid.
Exactly.
Because then you're screwed in the race. So
exactly.
Yeah, very interesting. Very, very interesting. The strategies that would go into it by the teams at the bottom. just trying to. Oof, that would be.
Yeah, man. Imagine
finish
Haas
last in qualifying, so you can get pole for the sprint.
Dude, oh my God! Even if that was just for one weekend out of the year, I would be so happy with that. That would be amazing.
That would be just do like, give us like even if it's just like 10 laps at Spa because it's a long track.
Yeah.
Just one where you can have long enough, or even like one with long straights like Baku or Vegas. Speaking of Vegas, playing on the video game, that their straight is ridiculously long. Like
it is.
It's like 30 seconds of just like you take like one little kind of turn, but it's just like crazy. But anyways, yeah, if you had, you'd have to like, make a track where guys aren't gonna be piling up too much because the faster guys coming from the back. But yeah, I mean, it's worth a try. Anything's worth a try at this point.
Absolutely.
So yeah, moving on to our little fantasy Haas league.
Yes.
And you had a good week this week. Charles 18 points, Perez 7 plus 5, 15, so 22. Sainz 6 plus 8. That's obviously sprint plus race. Alonso 4 plus 10, so you finish, and Hulkenberg 3, so you finished with 71, bringing your total to 466. I had 67 points this week, mainly Max with 34. Other than that, Lando 12, God. Lewis 4, Russell 7, Stroll 7. So I had 67, so I'm at 531. So you gained 4 points on me, so I'm up 65 points.
Damn, it's just going to take Max DNFing one time for me to catch up. That's it.
Yeah, it is.
Honestly, with his domination, I'm shocked you're not farther ahead. Like, I'm shocked it's not just over with between us already. I've gotten lucky with my Ferraris.
Perez and Alonso are...
Oh, yeah, Perez and Alonso.
I mean, Perez should be better, but Alonso definitely has been your pick of it. So, with that, we'll do the... I've got the wheel ready to go here.
Yes.
See what you got.
Let's do it. See what my punishment next week is going to be.
Filming this time? Alright.
I can hear it. I'm not excited.
Go, 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 go. Alright. Dealer's choice again.
Oh, no. God damn it, no.
It was so close to being, you'll see in the video, it was so close to being free pass.
Oh, okay.
Just
damn it.
Ticked into dealer's choice, so.
So I guess you'll decide before next episode and let me know.
Yep.
Yeah, you got to see if the one that I'm doing today is worth repeating because
see if it's funny or awful. But
oh my gosh.
What else do we got? Okay, now we can talk about the British GP at Silverstone. I've got the times right here. Again, Eastern Standard Time. Practice 1, 7:30 a.m. Practice 2, 11 a.m. Practice 3 on Saturday at 6:30 a.m. Qualifying at 10 a.m. Race at 10 a.m. We got weather right here. Friday, chance of rain 2%. I don't really care about the temperature. Saturday, chance of rain 55%. So quality might be interesting again. And then Sunday, main race, chance of rain 5%. So we should be good. Maybe a little bit of rain during quali, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, depending when it hits. So, hey, that is that. 2022, last year's race. Maybe the best race of the year. Yeah, we had, right off the bat, Zhou Guan Yu. An awful crash, but now since he walked away from it perfectly fine, we're able to talk about it and how just mesmerizing it was. So there was that.
Scary.
There was probably my favorite moment of the year. Through goes Hamilton. That was great.
Iconic.
Yeah. Sainz got his first win. Pretty lucky because Max had some issues. Dropped down to 7th. And then Charles, I think they messed up Charles's pit strategy as well, as they did all the time last year. So, but nonetheless, Sainz got his first win last year. Is there anything else that you remember from last year or you're looking forward to? Like, what do you think when you think of Silverstone or the British GP?
I mean, it's Mercedes track. I mean, we could pretty much go from the Red Bull ring to the Mercedes ring, you know. It's Hamilton. I know Bottas, you know, he's had some good results there, but I mean, it's Lewis's home, literally and figuratively. he's just dominated there, and obviously, the majority of the fans there for Lewis. So, yeah, I really am hoping he's able to, pull something out of his hat and surprise everybody. Because, I mean, if he has a weekend like Austria, it's just going to be so disappointing, especially with last year's epic moment that he had.
Yeah. I mean, I have high hopes for him this weekend. Again, it could be, if last week was an indication, then it's not going to be great. But if Canada was, aside from last week, they did seem to be on an upward trajectory. And obviously Lewis's favorite track is home race. And we got some new liveries this week as well. We got McLaren kind of trying to emulate their old school one, that Lando's favorite livery of all time, and a lot of people's favorite livery, the kind of orange and silver that Lewis drove. And Williams, I actually just pulled that up now, Williams livery. The Williams one I'll talk about. I guess you can talk about the McLaren one. The Williams one I like a lot. At first I wasn't sure, but the back, they have like the Union Jack, but it's in blue and white across the back wing. I think it looks really cool. So we'll see how that looks on track. Not too much really other than that. I do like the Williams one though. What do you think of the McLaren one?
I like it a lot. I wish they would, take more time and think about maybe doing these liveries permanently, because I just really don't like McLaren's default livery that they have, but I like it. I like the chrome a lot. I think it fits a lot better than the light blue. Aston Martin, don't they also have a livery this week? I think so. That might not be.
They do have a livery.
I don't know if it's for Silverstone, but I think they're doing something with one of their partners. It's not anything major. I think they're adding a little bit of like black trim to the front wing and the side, and then they're painting like a shark fin on the back. It didn't look really anything exceptional to me. I don't know if that's going to be for Silverstone.
Yeah, the new partnership with Valvoline.
Yeah, they painted like this little shark thing on the top. It's not really anything special.
Colors,
yeah. So, got some. Silverstone is obviously means a lot to a lot of these teams. Not just Mercedes, Williams, Aston Martin as well, and McLaren. So, I mean, it's
technically
iconic.
Red Bull has their factory in England too, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Technically,
like,
yeah.
I don't know. Christian Horner would probably say it's a home race then.
It's his home race.
Yeah, it's his home race. So, yeah, always something to look out for. I mean, I would say, I know you put Austria as probably your favorite track. Silverstone, maybe not my favorite track to drive like in the video game, but in terms of watching, I think I'd say it's my favorite. I don't know, there's just something about it in the UK with all like bunch of UK drivers, and the fans are great there. It seems sort of like, I don't even know if it is the home of like the birthplace, whatever you call it, of F1, but it does sort of seem like the epicenter of F1. So I really like when they race at Silverstone, and obviously it's good for the British drivers. So off the top of my head, I know I'm gonna miss a few, but I mean Lando, Lewis, George. Who else is British?
Albon is British, and Ty, if I'm not mistaken.
Flags right here, actually.
Trying to
Lando,
think.
George, Lewis.
Everybody.
I think that's it.
Yeah, I believe that's
in terms
it.
of their actual like the one I printed out has their
Registered.
flags on it. And
Is
so many
Albon
people-
under? I think he's
No.
on.
So we got Norris and then the two Mercedes. Alex Albon he's right here. Whatever this, I guess Thailand maybe.
I
don't
think
know if you
that's
can see that.
Taiwan. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because he talked about that in his
Are we allowed to say Taiwan?
I mean, I am, but I
No, we are. Yeah.
I don't know. The only reason I wouldn't be able to say it is I'm not 100% sure that's the other country he's from. So
we're not in China, so we're okay.
Yeah, exactly. Apologies if I got his nationality wrong. I apologize.
He won't mind. I think he's either from Thailand or something like that. But yeah, don't hold us to it. We'll circle back on that if we were wrong.
We will.
So yeah, let's do our predictions. I mean, I was gonna say let's predict like 5th to 2nd, but I don't know. One of us might have something up our sleeve for a different prediction this week. So yeah, let's go like first to fifth or fifth to first, however you want to do it, or podium.
Okay.
Give me some predictions.
Let's see. Gosh. I mean, I just don't see Max not winning. Max will probably take the dub. I know he probably walks into Silverstone pissed, just thinking about 2021. Just thinking of it, he's probably just like, oh, what was it?
And last year too. He's had a bad run here.
That's true. Yeah, last year wasn't, due to another driver, it's debatable if it was Lewis's fault. Not trying to say it was solely on him. Debatable, yeah, but gonna say Max. I'm gonna hope Ferrari are just getting it together. So, actually, okay, we'll go Max, Leclerc, Lewis, Alonso, Norris.
Okay.
I think those McLaren upgrades are...
They're looking good. And I guess Piastri gets it because the upgrades as well. I'm going to go fifth place, Norris. Fourth place, Alonso. Third place, Russell. Second place, Leclerc. First place, Hamilton.
Whoa.
Lewis Hamilton. I mean, obviously that's more wishful thinking, but it's just gotta happen eventually. It's gotta happen. It's gotta happen. Please let it happen this week. It's gotta happen. And now, if Max crashes out and Sergio ends up winning, that's not gonna make me feel any better. So, yeah, let's just hope. But yeah, I guess I didn't finish the out of the British drivers who we think is gonna have the best week. Lewis, George, Lando. I guess I'm hoping for Lewis. I'm hoping the order goes Lewis, Lando, George in terms of those three.
I'm going to say Lando is going to have just a stellar weekend. I feel like his confidence is definitely at an all-time high this season. Hopefully those upgrades, don't necessarily go backwards at all. I mean, it's just 1 week, so I don't know how they necessarily could. So, I mean, he was on fire this week. I mean, I voted him driver of the day. It's debatable if it could have gone to Sainz, with the penalty. I think, but yeah, it's good to see, these guys who, when they came into the sport, it was stated like these guys could be future world champions, and now they're actually living up to that, potential. Yeah,
it's like those young guys are pretty much what you just said. They're starting to come up now, and if only, I can't even say if only Red Bull wasn't so good. If Max wasn't so good,
yeah.
Like full credit to him. He's like Perez isn't. I mean, look at the standings. Like Sainz is, or sorry, not Sainz. Alonso is like 17 points behind Perez, and Hamilton's not too far behind that either. So like it's pretty bad that like Perez isn't really doing anything too crazy. So if not for Max, but hey, there's inevitably. I mean, it could happen that, as I said before, it could happen that Max just wins the rest of the races this year. Red Bull does, but we've always seen in dominant seasons that guys do have some sort of issue. Whether it was Lewis in all of his years, there would be a few races where the car just wasn't good, or you'd have engine failure, or something would happen. I mean, it would just be nice to see. Maybe Checo and Max will take each other out, just like Nico and Lewis did back in the day in Australia. And Max got his first win. Who knows? That'd be nice. But yeah, I'm just sort of delaying to let you just marinate on the next thing on the show notes here.
Yeah. Is there anything we want to just talk about or bring up before we sign off with this punishment?
No, I think obviously subscribe, download, rate 5 stars, all that good stuff. We appreciate the views we've been getting lately, and I'm hoping this clip is gonna go semi-viral so we can get some more people on board. But yeah, depending on how this goes, we'll see what your punishment's gonna be next week. I'll probably let you off a little easier next week, but the table is yours, my friend.
Okay, so this'll sound a little bit better. Oh, actually, I don't even have my mic. This will sound a little bit better for our listeners because you are hearing my computer or my laptop mic. I'm talking and recording with the snowball, so if it sounds a little bad, I apologize. But all right, yeah, might as well. Let's do this. Let's get ready. I got a backing soundtrack and everything. Here we go. Oh, wait. Shit. God damn it.
It's all right. Take your time.
Actually, let's do this. Hold her up like here. Here we go. I got so ready for this earlier, you don't even know. Okay. All right, time to embarrass myself because you wanted me to. Yeah. Are we ready? Yeah. Yeah. I'm a little teapot, short and stout. Here is my handle. Here is my spout. When I get all steamed up, hear me shout. Tip me over, pour me out. Thank y'all for watching. We'll see you next week. This is the HOS F1 podcast. Come back next week. We're going to talk about Silverstone. And yeah, come back. We can talk about this. We'll see you next week. Bye. Peace out.